I'm going to show you how to make a mask that kind of looks like the surgical masks we use at the hospital. So it's very basic. It's made out of bedsheet cotton, basically this stuff, nothing fancy. There's 2 layers. You can put a piece of, I don't know, tissue paper or extra cotton in the middle if you really feel like it. I made the ties out of fleece. You can see here I have lots of fleece. I turned it all into little strips. I'll show you in a second how to do that. And then you just tie a strip on either side, so you can tie it around your head. And there's a little piece of bias here on the top that is just sewn in so that you can put one of these little twisty things in there so that you can shape it around your nose so that it prevents the air from coming out when you're breathing. You want to breathe through the mask, not around the mask. In terms of the fabric we use, this cotton was just like a sheet that I had, but I got this from Target the other day because it was the only place open. It's 400 thread count. It was like a twin sheet with a fitted sheet and a pillowcase, and the whole thing was under $30, which would make you probably a couple hundred masks. So this is probably the strongest fabric, or what you really want to use. You don't need anything more than that. And the size, here I have it sitting on here. This is my little measuring thing. This piece is about 8 inches by maybe about 16. This is like an adult size mask. It's going to end up being 4 inches wide by about 7 across. But for a smaller kid, you might want to use a smaller piece. So you could, instead of being 16 inches, you might want to go 14 inches. And instead of 8, you might want to go to, 6 or 7. In terms of the ties, this is the fleece that I use. I mean, you can use anything. You can use elastic, you can use whatever, but you basically want to cut the fleece into roughly 2-inch strips. It's not an exact science. I'm just cutting this to show you what I mean. To make the ties, you can, just sew it on your regular machine like that. You can invert it and tie it. You can sew it and turn it inside out, whatever you want to do. I'm, in the interest of time, just use my little serger here. This isn't really, this is the edge of the fabric, so I'm not really going to end up using it, but you get the idea. So that would be your tie. Okay. Fabric part of it. Once you have whatever template you want to use, obviously you would fold your sheet as many layers as you want, so you don't have to waste any. Put your fabric where you need and then cut out a bunch of pieces. So let me show you how we fold it into the size that we want. So let's come over to the iron. If I can explain what we're doing, I want it to be about, this is about 7 or 8, 7.5 by 7.5, something like that. For an adult size face, you kind of want it about this big, which is about 7-ish by about 4. I might be comfortable if it's a little bit bigger. So basically you're gonna take the fabric that we've cut. You want it to be around eight in the end. So you're going to fold one side, you're going to fold the other side so that there's some overlap, and that's how you're going to have a pocket in the end. Okay, so I'm just laying it on this other one as a guide, so I don't have to use a ruler for everything. Okay, that's that. Okay, so now I'll show you how we trim that. Okay, so to trim the edges here, just like we just did, again, or you can hem them in the regular way, whatever you like. Okay. Then we're going to hold that together, and let's just first kind of close the edge so that we can pleat it before we trim everything. So and then you can have a wider stitch if you want. Again, just holding it together. My trusty ancient Bernina machine here. Now we're going to go and put the pleats in. So back to the ironing board. So now we want it to be a little bit smaller. We want the pocket probably to be facing you, though it probably doesn't matter. And so we want to put a couple pleats in. So I would just say one there, and one there. Something like that is probably sufficient to be about 4 inches long. You can iron it into place. Okay. We want to kind of attach it, the pleats, to kind of keep them a little bit in place. So just again, could be kind of a wide stitch, nothing fancy. Just in there. You could do that by hand. You could do that all kinds of different ways. Same thing on the other side. And then what you want to do with the sides is really, again, up to you how you want to do that. There are some that I did where I took a piece of bias tape like this and folded it around the edge like that and sewed that in place and sealed it that way. You could also just trim it on your serger if you have one. This serger also does cover stitch and stuff, but you can get a much more basic serger for probably less than $200 or $300. This has it does. Just the overlock stitch. So there you go. So that's the mask component. This is done. Then you're going to take the bias tape and make a little pocket on the top for the nose strip. So back to this machine. Just kind of run it across the top. Okay. That's that. Cut the extra off. And then just put the ties on. So here's the ties that I've made before. It's like a big ball. I'm cutting them in about 36 inch pieces, and you can overstitch the edge if you want, but again, it's fleece, so it probably doesn't really matter. But you can kind of seal the edge. Okay. Now and trim it, whatever it is that makes you feel good about it all. Or not. I don't think it really makes a difference with fleece. But anyway, so you can do that to the edges if you want. And then basically you're going to, at about, it's a funny little thing here. At about 16 inches is going to be the top of the mask. So around here is where you want to start sewing it in. Right about there. Kind of secure it mostly at the bottom there. And then you can go to a straight stitch where the rest goes down. And then secure it again. One side, and then the other side, again 16 should be about the edge of the where you want to attach it, so it'll be about here. And then straight stitch down the tip of that, and then secure it. Okay, and there you go. And you can take the little twisty thing and bend that and put it in straight, whatever your preference is. Just kind of something, you can use copper wire, whatever that works for you. And that way when it goes across your nose, you can bend it to shape it that way. If you want to put something here, put a paper towel or something, and you're done.